You're listening to the sound of the Coach's Corner. Ready, set, go.
That's right, DCC. Are you ready for the hardcore motivation, daily inspiration, and sure up your spiritual foundation on DCC? If you want more on the go and you need to know, www.415-96radio.com. Join us there as we cheer you on to the finish line of life. This is not your mama's show. This show is for the new generation of those young men and women who know and realize that I've done enough foolish things, I've made enough mistakes, and now it is my time to accept the philosophy of DCC. That is, I am the common denominator to every situation. Join me at www.415-96radio.com. That's www.415-96radio.com. And follow me on Twitter.
You're listening to the sound of the Coach's Corner.
I want to ask you a question. Who's coaching you? Who's asking you the tough questions? Who's telling you, man, you're the common denominator to all of your issues and challenges? Who's telling you, man, all day long you become the magnetic pulse that attracts to you both good and bad? I want to be your life coach. I want to be the one that cheers you on to the finish line. I want to be the one that you ask the tough questions. And it doesn't mean that I have all the answers, but that means that you have a partner, someone who believes in you, not the you see right now, but the you can't imagine, the you that you are to become, the you were destined to be. I always say we both need the positive and the negative. It's not enough to have the knowledge of the matter, but we must have the wisdom as well. For wisdom settles it. And that's what I want to offer you as you join me on the Coach's Corner. I want to offer you the wisdom of the matter. Maybe it might be relationships, talking about our campaigns for more, for life, the dark room of our subconscious, our spiritual journey. Whatever it is, I want to be there to encourage you, to build you, to challenge you, to cheer you on to the finish line. I'm qualified to do this. Why? Because I'm you.
Thank you so much for joining us right here on SIBN Radio's #1 show, The Coach's Corner. My name is Marcus Sillette, and as I approach the microphone, I admit right up front that I have my own set of personal and professional challenges. But I like to think that I am learning lessons along the path. I like to also believe that I'm bringing to the microphone the wisdoms of the matters, the lessons that I have learned. And so I appreciate you stopping by. I would also like for you to chat, text, and let someone know that DCC is live and also on demand. You can download these episodes for your listening and educational developmental pleasure at your leisure. So make sure you download the episodes, and also keep in mind that you can share them. It's very important that you help us get the word out. Today we're going to be talking about how to set goals and what to expect next. And I would be remiss if I did not say thank you to all of those of you that are following us around the world. Yes, on the various platforms where SIBN television and radio airs, I want to say thank you to my Spreaker fans. They are the best. Blog Talk Radio fans, thank you so very much. Those that are following on the website at www.415-96radio.com, and those following on Facebook and Twitter, thank you so very much. Let's get to work. We are standing in the midst of a very interesting economy. where it generates more income for the 1% and less for those at the bottom. The middle class is losing ground every single day, it seems, and it doesn't matter what political side you find yourself on, there is trouble economically in the land. So I wanted to talk about how to set goals and what to expect. First of all, it's very essential that you do not pay too much attention, but you thus pay attention to what's going on around you. What's going on around you is an indicator of the things you may need to change. Let me say that again. What's going on around you may be indicators of what you may need to change, what you may need to adjust, how flexible you may need to be, or how solid you may need to be. The indicators are all around us. We have violence, we have economic loss, we have greed, we have robbery, theft, we have identity issues, and on and on and on. So these are our indicators to let us know, even spiritually so, that we need to turn to the source of our souls, if you will. Also, that we need to set some goals for a different future. This is difficult. Let's put it out there like the TI is. It's difficult to recreate or create a future of which now you may only be able to a certain degree perceive, but yet not having achieved it. I'll say it again. It's difficult to create a future that you can somewhat perceive, but yet to achieve the necessary steps to create a new dynamic future, a future with new components of enjoyment, a future of new income streams. It's difficult. It's difficult if you're aging. It's difficult if you're working 2 or 3 jobs. It's difficult if you are a parent. It's difficult if you are married. It could even be difficult if you're single and looking to be married. And sometimes we have to say, okay, what goals do I need to set for the day? What goals are significant for my right now season? It's difficult to achieve these goals, but it's important to set them nevertheless. Thank you, Mr. DJ. Appreciate that. It's important to set the goals nevertheless, because if you do not set the goals, irregardless of the lack of resources, irregardless of the lack of support, irregardless of what you're lacking, if you do not set the goals, I promise you, someone else will set them for you. For he who or she who does not set an agenda for her life will find herself or himself following along the agenda of others. It is the natural human way. So we could all say, well, I'm not going to set any goals because I don't have the money. I'm not going to set any goals because I don't have the energy. I'm not going to set any goals because I don't have the strength. I'm not going to set any goals because I'm depressed. Well, that's a goal. My goal today, this week, this month, this year, however the time measurements is up to you, is not to be depressed so that I can have the energy. Because depression, if those of you that know about depression, takes away your energy and leaves you in a blah state of mind, state of being. Therefore, you cannot send and receive anything beyond the energy that you have. It's important to remember a side note here, that energy that you stir up now then aggregates and begins to attract other energies that will coincide with the truth of your energy. That's a whole nother show. So if you got energies that have double standards and double takes and double minds, then you're going to attract to you the complement thereof of the energy that you stir up and send forth. I need some help. You're going to attract back. So listen, it's already hard enough to set goals. Let's not complicate matters further by sending out the wrong energy. By sending out, or if you wanted to say it like folks in church say, it's by operating in the wrong spirit. A lot of us operate in the wrong spirit. Why? Because of the extenuating factors that I talked about earlier that are pressing down on us. We already know it's difficult. It's going to be difficult both ways. It's going to be difficult if you don't set goals, because then you're going to be forced to change by the agenda of others. I need some help. But then it's going to be difficult if you set goals, because what I talk about a little bit later about what to expect next may alarm you. But if you can stay the task of setting goals, if you can stay the task of creating the new reality that you perceive and set the necessary steps to achieve the new reality, I promise you, you're going to be able to borrow from the chemical release of your brain. If I just can go there for a biological moment, you'll be able to borrow from the feel-good moments, store them up to achieve harder tasks, because life is all about achieving the hard task. I need some help. Life is about achieving the hard task. There's nothing easy. If you do nothing for yourself in the next 30, 60 days, 90 days, by which those measurements and increments of time I've given you are the pillars of change, 30, 60, 90. If you do nothing, you're still going to change, but by the standards and the agendas of others. And hence why you need a plan yourself. And it's okay to fall. It's okay to fall short. It's okay not to be able to make the grade. But at least you're on the board. You're on the field. You're on the roster. You might not start well. You might not score much. But not setting goals is simply unacceptable. Not setting goal posts is simply unimaginable. You are a life organism progressing and moving forward or backward, or you have reached a stalemate and thus could be moving backwards unknowingly. My goal is to get you to the finish line. And with that thought in mind, I want you to make it very simple for yourself. When setting a goal, here are some clues as to what kinds of goals to set. Number one, clue number one is, what do you want? That sounds simple, right? But so many people want what others want. So many people want what others have. So many people attach their lives to others to the degree that they themselves have no clue as to what it is in life they want. And please, let's not start with the physical every single time we ask the question, what do we want? I need some help right there. Well, I want a new car. Okay. Well, I want a new house. I want a man. I want a girl. I want to get out of school. We always start with the physical. Maybe we ought to start with the invisible. I want faith to believe and to double back and check my beliefs to make sure that my beliefs are solid enough to progress forward in whatever I pursue. Because I want to promise you something, that our lives have ingredients, and one of the key ingredients of the whole of life is, what do we believe? Because you attract to you and I attract to me that which I truly in my core believe I deserve. And so many of us, including myself, have obstacles when it comes to knowing what we believe that will thus give us the answer to what we really want in life. That's clue number one. What do you want? What do you aspire to? Clue number two. What do you aspire to? What do you want to accomplish? What do you, if money was no option, as they say, and if time was no bearing, what would you be doing? I need some help. If money was no option and time was no bearing, what would you be doing? Quote. You can tweet that, says the coach. Clue number three. What is your passion? There may be a difference between 2 and 3, because if time was no bearing and money was no option, what you may be doing may not be something you're super passionate about. You just like to bake, or you just like to skate, or you just like to sing, or you just like to. But then when you tap a across the street, across the tracks, to the fact that you have a passion for writing or a passion for speaking or a passion for X, Y, and Z, then you may have more evidence on the table of the type of goals you should be setting. I got to go to break. But when I come back, we're going to talk further of how to set goals, right? How to set goals and what to expect next. You're listening to The Coach's Corner on SIBN Radio.
You're listening to SIBN Radio. We'll be right back in a moment.
Now is the time to have your business online with the Select USA TV iBroadcasting Network. That's right, SIBN or Select USA TV will produce your video on the spot. Picture business videos, on location streaming videos, or on location production videos. Dial 678-830-3118 or call the office at 404-910-5019 Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now is the time to have your business online with SIBN. The Select USA TV iBroadcasting Network now offers picture videos, on-location streaming videos, and on-location production videos for your event cause, brand, or mission. Call today, 678-830-3118 or 404-910-5019. Attention all artists of all genres. Now you can be featured on Gas Global Artist Showcase on the CATL show, airing now on SIBN Radio. That's right, all artists now, all genres, wholesome and positive please, can be featured on Gas Global Artist Showcase. Global Artist Showcase on the CATL show, now airing on SIBN Radio. For more information, dial 404-910-5019. That's 404-910-5019. Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's right. Or email us at globalcoverage@selectusatv.info. Well, thank you for joining us right here on the Coach's Corner on SIBN Radio. My name is Marcus Salette. We're talking about how to set goals and what to expect. What to expect. So we said, hey, you got to set goals. If you don't set goals, you're going to be subject to the agenda of others. You're going to be subject to the plans of others, hoodlums, players, pimps, punks, along with scoundrels, you know, on and on and on and on and on. There's a whole lot of folks out there want to get a hold of who you could be and use your resources and your aspirations and your knowledge for their gain. I need some help. But at the end of the day, you know now that you've got to set some goals, however incremental you want them to be, however small you want those goals to be, but maybe you should document the process and the progress of those small steps, because even an elephant turns by small steps. A ship turns in small increments, and the speed thereof can hardly be measured with the naked eye. I want to encourage you to set some goals. Write that book. The book is the end goal, but write that chapter. The chapter may be an end goal, but write that outline. Write that song. Call that school. Go out on that date. The date that's different from the other dates that you had. The dates in the club and all that doesn't point to marriage. I need some help. But the dates at the Congress Center, the date at the special event for your son may be the date that thus helps you determine and help you discover more about yourself for the goal that you say you have to attract a man or a woman, because now you begin to do something different because you expect a different result, so you date differently. I need some help. Y'all don't want to go. Y'all don't want to go. Y'all don't want to go. You say you want to get married, but yet you date the same way all the time. You say you want more money, but you just simply stick with the job that you have, and that's all that you do. If you say you want a specific goal, then keep in mind that the actionary plan or the plan of action that you need to match up with what you said you want, what you say you're passionate about, they must correspond together. You can't say one thing and then do the same thing. Now let's talk about real briefly what to expect next. After you set a goal, you can expect the goal post that you have set, the line you have drawn in the sand, that I'm going to make a change. I'm going to add components and dynamics to my future of which I can only perceive now, but yet I'm going to step back, take these small steps, and congruently achieve this outcome. What to expect next? Opposition. The opposition does not come personal. It's not a personal attack. Please understand this. It's not the devil. A lot of these folks run around, oh, the devil this and the devil that. No. As soon as you set motion for something to change, this is the DNA of God right here. As soon as you set motion for something to change, there's going to be automatic opposition to that. First, to test the authenticity of the person expressing the change desired. How bad do you want it? Jesus said to a man as he was at the pool, do you still want to be healed? The man said, well, every time I get ready to get in, the first thing out of his mouth is what everybody else is doing. How many of us, including myself, use that as the premise for why we can't change, why we can't set goals? And quite naturally, he could have interjected like the modern day Christian says, well, every time I get ready to do something, the devil. Every time I get ready to do something, the bishop, the enemy, the haters, the naysayers. And Jesus is not focused on what's stopping you from getting the goal. He's asking the question, do you still want the goal? And the man is given an instruction. What do you expect next after you set a goal? First, opposition to the fact to see whether or not that which you have spoken is coming from a true place. If it is coming from a true place, then it's going to be tested. I want to fall in love. Well, the first thing that's going to be tested is whether or not you have the capacity to love. I need some help. Because if you say you want to get married, that's what marriage is all about. The capacity to love without conditions. But yet you say you want to be married and you're arguing with your girlfriend over who lost the ticket to the movies. I need some help. You say you want to be married, so now you're going to be tested on the authenticity of the desire that you spoke. I need some help. You ought to tweet me sometime. You ought to send me an email, global coverage at selectusatv.info sometime. You ought to hit me up on Facebook sometime and say, Coach, you right on the money. You're going to be tested to first see whether the authenticity of what you spoke is coming from a true place of truth or a place of the identified core you, and not from a false place, a place of a pretension. And then secondary, you're going to be tested to see whether or not you have the skill set, and I dare use that loosely, to see if you have lacking skills that will cause you not to be able to have or host such an accomplishment. I need some help. Could you hold the achievement that you perceive? Do you have the capacity to host the answer to the prayer that you're praying? Do you have the reservoir ready to receive? I need some help. Something is pushing me right about now. Do you have the reservoir ready to receive? And I want to promise you this. Here's where most of us are. Most of us are in no consciousness because we've been rejected. Most of us are in a place of unexpectancy because the mundane has ruled our lives. Most most of us are in a place of false spirituality. That's why there is a scripture in the Bible that says that the word of God comes to separate soul from spirit, because most of us are in a soulish place, but we call it a spiritual place. I need some help. So what to expect after you set your goals? Expect the authenticity of the goal that you have set, emanating from your being, your mouth, from your pen to your paper, but emanating from you nonetheless. Expect the authenticity of that to be tested to see whether or not it is emanating from a true place. I ain't telling about something I read somewhere. This is stuff that is tried and true. I open up this show every single time talking about my mistakes. I open up this show every single time talking about my shortcomings. Why? Because I want you to understand we're not preaching or teaching or motivating just you. These things have helped me over the years. This is not something I read in a book somewhere. This is blood, sweat, and tears. The authenticity of what you spoke will be tested. That's how you know the DNA of God right there. Because good will be opposed, not just for the sake of opposing good, but also because anybody that knows anything about Jesus, he went about doing good. So good is always going to be opposed. And then secondary, how bad do you want it? And along the path of determining that fact of how bad you want it, we may find out and discover that that goal that you set is out of order. It's out of sequence. It's not the time for that. And then you may restructure your goal setting based on the discoveries along the way. Do a reassessment to see, okay, I found out that I wanted to be married. But I found out that's emanating from a place of pretension, not necessarily that I don't want to be married, but I wanted to be married for this reason. Therefore, I have discovered along the path that there are some things that I'm not willing to do that I must now adjust and grow into to authenticate the desire to be married, or the desire to find a solid partner, or the desire to have a more healthy relationship. So now I found out along the path that the authenticity of that spoken and written desire has been tested, and I have found that I am wanting or lacking in this area. And so now I'm going to do a reassessment, and I'm going to rearrange, reprioritize what my goals should be for this season. I got to get out of here. So for this season, what I'm going to work on thus is learning how to love me. I need some help. I'm going to do that by, here's your POA or your plan of action. I'm going to learn how to love me by celebrating myself through these three ways. Number one, I'm not going to talk about my problems, I'm using this for an example, over the phone anymore, because I realize that is part of my victimization from when I was abused and misused and all these other things. I talk too much. So I'm going to learn how to love myself and learn to study in quiet. I need some help. Something's pushing me. DJ, help me out.